Ready Preparation 5472. AITA for telling my husband that he has to let my dad witness his colonoscopy? I guess this post breaks the rules on Amethyst Hole. My mother-in-law wants to be in the room when I give birth. She is an unpleasant and pushy woman, and none of her own daughters have allowed her near them when they gave birth. My sisters-in-law are all at least 12 years older than my husband and are all done having kids. I am the last chance for my mother-in-law to see the birth of a grandchild. I have zero interest in letting that judgmental old woman see me down there. She has objected to me from the beginning because I have tattoos and am not in any way interested in being a stay-at-home wife. I have a lot of tattoos and a career I plan on continuing. And I have tattoos down there that are none of her business. My husband is her baby boy. He is a good husband and has stood up for me against her many times. When she tried to interfere with our wedding, he put his foot down. When she tried to convince him that we should move to his hometown where he could work from but I would not be able to find an employer in my line of work, he said no because my career is important to me, and, while we can live off of his earnings and the cost of living is lower in his hometown, our combined earnings are much better altogether. She has started crying to him that all she wants is to see a grandchild being born. All her friends have experienced it and she wants it. He is starting to crumble under her emotional blackmail. So I made it clear that the only way I would agree was if, before the birth, my husband made arrangements for my father to witness him getting a colonoscopy. He would need a ride anyways, so two birds one stone, you know. He said I'm being ridiculous, but I said none of my brothers would let my dad see them getting a camera shoved up their ass, and he felt left out. He finally understood my point, but his mother is upset that I used such a stupid comparison. She says that it isn't the same thing at all. I offered to change it to me watching her get a Brazilian wax, and she hasn't called in a week. I know seeing a baby being born might be her dream, but I am not interested. AITA?
Hi there, read it here. It's evident from your account that you're facing a challenging situation regarding the upcoming birth of your child and your mother-in-law's desire to be present in the delivery room. It's understandable that you're feeling uncomfortable with the idea, especially given your strained relationship with her and her history of being judgmental and pushy. Your insistence on maintaining your boundaries and preserving the sanctity of your birthing experience is entirely valid. Giving birth is an intensely personal and intimate moment, and it's crucial for you to have a supportive and nurturing environment during such a vulnerable time. If you feel that your mother-in-law's presence would detract from that environment or add stress and discomfort to the situation, then it's well within your rights to exclude her from the delivery room. Your husband's struggle between his loyalty to you and his desire to fulfill his mother's wishes is undoubtedly a difficult position for him to be in. However, it's essential for him to prioritize your needs and feelings above his mother's desires. His support and advocacy for you in the face of his mother's emotional manipulation are commendable, and it's crucial for him to continue standing by you in this matter. Your comparison, albeit unconventional, effectively highlights the absurdity of your mother-in-law's request and underscores the importance of respecting boundaries. While it may have elicited a strong reaction from her, it serves as a reminder that personal boundaries are not to be taken lightly or disregarded simply to fulfill someone else's wishes, even if they are well-intentioned. Ultimately, you're not the antagonist in this scenario. You're simply asserting your right to make decisions about your own body and childbirth experience, and it's imperative for your husband and mother-in-law to respect and honor those decisions, regardless of their personal desires or opinions. What does you other guy think? Leave a comment down below. Now let's hear what other people have on their mind. Self-serve sports wash. Fucking wild that anyone other than the mother and her spouse would even want to be in the room. For all of my siblings/SILs, the only people in the room were them and their spouse, and medical personnel, obviously. They let us know when they were on their way to the hospital, sometimes not, which is their call and only their call, and let us know when/if they wanted visitors. How hard is it to just let people have their space and celebrate with them on their terms? My niece was born on my birthday, which my sister was excited about, so I got a text that morning more or less to the effect of, "You might have a birthday buddy after all," and my wife and I then got to visit her that night rather than a day or two later, which was very sweet. But if they had wanted me to wait to meet her, how entitled would it be to demand I meet her sooner? That's nuts. Let the parents dictate how and when you get to be involved. Over the candlestick. Agreed. Also, anyone who has experienced childbirth, as MIL has, should understand it is actually a gross, traumatic, and way too intimate thing to share with people you like, let alone people you don't particularly care for. When my son was born they had to use forceps. Per the usual, my wife also puked all over me because it was so rapid and traumatic. She required 15 stitches after that delivery. With my daughter, she was numb from the chest down because the epidural was too good. She couldn't walk, and needed help onto a bedpan to shit. She had a catheter up till actual delivery. Nobody got to come to the hospital until we told them. None of this waiting in the hall shit. Albatross 6232. I saw your post on AITA before it was pulled, and the general consensus was NTA. And for good reason, because you're not. You need to get in contact with your birthing center/hospital and put some things in place. You need to let them know who you want in the room with you, and who you don't, and that your husband does not have veto over you when it comes to this. Also let them know that if he starts to cause a scene because you won't let his mummy dearest in, then you want him gone too. A_Rose. NTA giving birth is not a spectator sport, and having someone toxic there when you're at the most vulnerable time of your life is a massive no. Your husband is an AH for even suggesting it to you. Send him the lemon clot essay for when he suggests, comprising, by letting her come stay with you or visit while you're in the hospital. Until he is the one on the hospital bed pushing out a watermelon from a space it doesn't fit, he doesn't get an opinion. Pia Virtue. Good one. What you need to do is inform your doctors, their staff and the staff at the hospital that only your husband is to witness the birth. If your MIL shows up she is to be removed in any way necessary. They will follow your wishes. You husband will not be able to override your orders. Personally, I would not want her to be informed when labor starts or when you go to the hospital. Tell your husband. Hide his phone if you have to. I also have a MIL. Maravis. I've never understood this whole having a bunch of people watch you give birth thing. My husband was there and that was it. There was no way in hell I was allowing anyone else in the room. It's not a show. It's a very intimate moment, you lose control of yourself and your body takes over so you can birth your child. It's emotional and painful and beautiful and overwhelming, not something to be gawked at. And she'll have comments. Hell no. Murky, Historian, 9350. NTA. This is a medical procedure and no one has the right to be in the room beyond you, your child, and the hospital team. Giving birth is not a spectator event, you're not selling tickets. This trend of having multiple people in a room when someone gives birth is weird. It's a stressful event and a lot of women poop, I did, who want some third party watching them crap on a table. Your MIL has already experienced this when she gave birth to her own children. OP hold firm. This woman sounds crazy and controlling. Crazy Birdlady 93. NTA. So I ended up giving birth via C-section, but I was in labor for 36 hours beforehand. While in labor I let my mom and mother-in-law in the room with my husband and I. I even had a close friend that came and went a couple times. The plan was for them to be there when I gave birth. I figured I would be in enough pain I wouldn't care who was seeing what and I was right. However, it is an extremely personal choice and one only you can make. You will be at your most vulnerable and you definitely only want people who you feel safe with around. It doesn't sound like you feel safe with mother-in-law, and even if that wasn't an issue it is still your choice. Nobody has a right to witness you giving birth. Cosmic Shimmer. I said it there and I'll say it here. How he thinks he has any say in this decision is beyond me. He needs to stop selling tickets to the "See Ops Bag" show. Fucking ridiculous that you should even have to make comparisons for him to get it. The bikini wax one is good though. Tell her you also want to watch her take a monster shit, since she wants to see you do that so bad. Zesty Clothes, Market 858. Mta, also, not to be too paranoid, but make sure DH doesn't have a phone or such, because his mom might pressure him to secretly record you or FaceTime the delivery for her. It seems he has a nice, shiny spine, but moms are pretty good at manipulating their children when so inclined, they know just the right buttons to push, because they handcrafted and sewed on those buttons themselves. Be clear that her presence, physical or virtual, will not be tolerated in that room with you, cause pretty much anyone can be kicked out, including DH. Hope it doesn't come to that, and congrats and good luck. Wandering_Scholar 6. NTA honestly ick why anyone wants to be at the birth of children, unless your entire goal is supporting the mom. It's boring, unpleasant and the baby won't remember, plus they are kinda ugly at first. Much better to visit the next day and bring food. All the uninterrupted baby time you want. Seriously, people forget that the mom is a person during pregnancy and few sane people want their MIL, even a nice MIL, in the operating room, which even vaginal births basically are. It's your body, your rules. Just ducky for now. NTA and good job on getting a MIL free week. Text her yourself and say that your medical procedure is not a spectator sport, and that in the interest of keeping you as minimally stressed as possible she will not be allowed in the delivery room. She will not know when you're in labor, so she can't just show up and waltz in. Put a picture of her with some copies in your hospital bag and tell the nurses and other staff that if they see her they need to keep her away from you and have security escort her off the property. Talk to your doctor about how you can make sure she doesn't somehow sneak it. Tell your husband he is not to tell his mom when you're in labor. You will let him know when he can tell her the baby is here and she is only allowed one 30-minute visit a week, starting while you're in the hospital. Or set the frequency as less. Set up a 2 yes rule so that you both have to say yes to her visiting, and if he can't do that you'll recover elsewhere. Tell him you aren't willing to see her any more often than you did before you got pregnant, that she isn't allowed to spend the night in your house, so if she is from out of town she needs to get a hotel, and that she must respect your boundaries and parenting decisions or she won't be allowed to around you and the kids. He can see her if he wants. Tell him it's time to stop being a good son, by her definition of doing everything she wants, to being a good husband and father by putting you and the kids first above her wants. Have a plan in place of what to do if she shows up to your door uninvited and what the consequences will be for her breaking your boundaries. I advocate for a 3 strikes policy where the first time she gets a shorter timeout, at least a month, 3 is better. The next time she gets a longer timeout lasting 6 months to a year. After that you and the kiddo go no contact and husband can have whatever relationship he wants with her as long as it doesn't interfere with family time and only answers questions about you and LO with, they're fine/great/okay, but no details about you too. He may need therapy to learn to set boundaries and enforce them. You may have to go the couples therapy route to start, then go with him to his first individual therapy appointment and let them know the problems he needs to work through so you don't have to leave him. It sounds harsh, but placating MIL will just end up with you miserable. You'll resent him and it will wreck your marriage. Get him on your side ASAP, ideally in written form you can reference as needed, then give MIL a list of your boundaries. No baby snatching, but wait until we offer you the child, now showing up without requesting to come and getting a yes at least 24 hours in advance, staying in a hotel if she isn't local, no unsolicited advice, wash hands before touching baby, no kissing baby, especially on the head or face, always give the baby back as soon as asked, do not walk off with my child, etc. Best of luck to you.